Hi, everybody. The Tragedy of Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, Act 1. This work is one of the greatest drama made by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is one of the most great, if not the greatest, English writers through the history of the English literature. Let's see what are the drama elements here, or the play elements here, and who is William Shakespeare. Dialogue. One of the most important elements in this drama or in all drama plays dialogue. Dialogue or conversation between characters to reveal character and relationships, to advance the action of the plot. Plot is the sequence. Guys, you need to know what is a plot, what are the main characters, settings, which is the place and time of events. So, uh, to reveal character and relationships, to advance the action of the plot, and to develop the conflict between characters and inside characters, because we have two types of conflict. We have internal and external conflict, and both are available in all William Shakespeare's works. So let's move to see the next element. Actually, I would like to prevent the summary first, because some people feel boring fast. So I'd like to give you a short summary about the events or the plot of this play to have a good background. In Romeo and Juliet, a tragedy, or just a tragic misunderstanding? Is it a real tragedy or just a misunderstanding? The author argues that Romeo and Juliet were not destined to die in each other's arms, and that their own bad decisions led to their downfall. The author provides a list of reasons why he believes this to be case. First, he points out that the characters pursue their romance with an incredible lack of care, marrying in secret instead of attempting to convince their parents it's a good idea. Romeo's poor judgment, including the killing of Tippett, shows that he can't think clearly. There are other ways which the two main characters made bad decisions. Like when Juliet faked her death, like she pretended to die. Put together, the author claims this is evidence of how Romeo and Juliet are responsible for what happened to them. So the author would like to say that Romeo and Juliet are the only, or the people who are responsible for this tragic end for both of them. Their decisions lacked wisdom, no wisdom. They are young men or young people. They behaved many times in wrong ways. They don't have wisdom, and they don't think about their decisions and what are the consequences of their decisions. So maybe their tragic flaw for them is lack of wisdom and not thinking well about matters. We have here stage directions. Many people ignore it and feel it's useless. Why we should read these stage directions? Let's see what is the benefit of the stage direction. Stage directions are notes included in the play to describe. So it gives us a description how the work is meant to be performed or staged, including where a scene takes place, what is should look and sound like, and how the characters should move and speak. Stage directions don't help only the director, production staff, and actor stage, okay, a play. They also help someone reading rather than watching a drama visualize everything that meant to occur on the stage. Like stage directions give the reader the ability to imagine, to create a real picture in front of his eyes while he's reading the play. I mean, some people like to read rather than watching. Some people don't have time to go to the stage and watch it. So once they read it or read the stage direction, they will be able to imagine how characters stand and scenes, what's happening in the first scene, second scene, and third one. So stage direction are very, very important part of any play. This is William Shakespeare. He was born in 1564 and died in 1616. He has long been called the greatest writer in the English language. And by the way, his greatness is he's able to go deeper in the human soul. He's able to depict and reflect the struggle inside the human personality. So he was born in Stratford upon Avon, at a town not far from London. He's a British writer. In his 20s, he made his name as an actor and a playwright, and eventually became a part owner of the Globe Theatre, where he wrote and produced plays until his late 40s. He then retired to the town where he had grown up. For more information, see the literature and cultural features. So, if you need more information about William Shakespeare, just write his name on Google. You're gonna see millions of theses and research and books about him. William Shakespeare as a playwright and poet. Shakespeare's plays and poetry are regarded by many as the finest works ever written in English. William Shakespeare is widely revered as one of England's greatest writers. 4 centuries after his death, his plays are still read and performed every day. Who was the remarkable author of so many masterpieces? In actual fact, he know very little about him. Or sorry, we know very little about him. Like we need to read more about him as a great writer of English literature. As I told you, if you need more, you can search for this. Okay, historical context. Guys, I've mentioned before many times when you read about any literary work, essay, movie, article, play, poem, short story, novel, you need to see the historical context or the background of this selection. This selection analyzed the key events and characteristics of the time period that led to the Renaissance. Renaissance, it's a period in the history in Britain and France and most of the European countries, which depended on reviving or retranslating and redealing with the old works of the Greek and Latin in all fields of life. So that's why we call it, or they call it, Renaissance, including expanding of trade, exploration of new lands, Protestant Reformation, and the Civil War. Have students connect these key events and characteristics with the unit topic, so we can connect all these elements to have a comprehensive understanding about it. The tragedy of Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, summary again. The tragedy of Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare begins with a street fight between feuding Montague and Capulet families. The prince of the city arrives to break up the fight, to stop the fight. He announced that if anyone from these families disturbs peace again, he will have them put to death. In the next scene, we meet Romeo. He's penning about no longer being loved by a woman named Rosaline. His friend persuades him to go to a party. Juliet goes to the same one. The two meet each other and instantly fall in love, but then learn that their families are enemies. So, Romeo went to a party. He wanted to forget an old love for a woman. She didn't love him. So, one of his friends persuades him to go to a party to find another love to replace the old one, or maybe to find the real love. By chance, they went to the same party and fall in love, but later, after they get introduced to each other, they discovered that their families are bad enemies. And this is the real complex or climax, one of the parts of the climax in this selection. Explain that the Elizabethan age explains that the Renaissance is often called the Elizabethan age because Queen Elizabeth's rule of England from 1558 to 1603 was so successful. Renaissance is a French word that means rebirth. The period is called a rebirth because artists and scholars rejected many of the ideas and philosophies from the Middle Ages. This time after the fall of Roman Empire was confusion, and many considered it to be a dark time in human culture and economic achievements. The Renaissance is often marked as the beginning of a modern age. The Renaissance in England. According to historians, the English Renaissance began about 100 years after the Italian Renaissance began. The English Renaissance and the Italian Renaissance are very similar. The one major difference is that the English Renaissance emphasized music and literature, and the visual arts were not as significant as they were in the Italian Renaissance. So we have many Renaissance movement in Europe and around. Elizabeth I, or the First, and the Spanish Armada, the Spanish army. In 1588, King Philip of Spain sent an armada, or fleet of military ships, to invade England. At the time, Spain was the most powerful nation on earth. Nevertheless, the English soundly defeated the invading forces. The victory cemented Elizabeth's popularity with her people prior to the battle. The Queen visited her troops to inspire them to fight. Here is the portion of the speech she delivered. Queen Elizabeth was one of the greatest English queens who affected the history of English uh, war. Queen Elizabeth's speech. And therefore I am come amongst you at this time, not as far my recreation or sport, but being resolved in the midst and heat of the battle, to live or die amongst you all, to lay down for my God and for my kingdom and for my people, my honor and my blood, even the dust I know I have, but the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart of a king and of a king of England too. So this speech affected the army very well, and they did perfectly in this war. This is a quotation from the play. Reflects a little bit about the character of Romeo and what did he thought about his beloved Juliet. Romeo to a serving woman, he's a man, he's talking to his serving man. What lady is that which doth enrich the hand of your yonder knight? Serving man answered, I know not, sir. Romeo, oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night, as rich jewel in Aethop's ear. Beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. So Romeo is talking with his servant about the beauty of Juliet. He's describing his beloved Juliet, that she's given the torches how to burn to bring a bright light. And he's describing her to be very attractive lady. So shows a snowy dove trooping with crows. So he compares her to a snowy dove. Some comprehension check or questions from the play, Act 1. What is troubling Romeo at the beginning of the play? Romeo is troubled and depressed over his unreciprocated love of a girl named Rosaline. So he failed in his love story with Rosaline, and he wanted to start a new love, or maybe by chance. What is Paris' relationship to Juliet? Paris is Juliet's potential fiancé. Paris has asked Lord Capulet for her hand in marriage, and Juliet has agreed to meet with Paris at the party. What does Lord Capulet stop Tybalt from doing at the feast? Lord Capulet prevented Tybalt from attacking Romeo at the feast. He tells Tybalt that Romeo is behaving like a gentleman and that he will not allow him to be insulted in his house. So they showed respect to each other. What does Romeo say? A kiss from Juliet will take him from, or take from him, Romeo claims that the kiss from Juliet will purge him of his sins because he is comparing Juliet to a saint. He's a very romantic person. Okay, this is the last, okay, short summary to confirm your understanding of the text, okay, writing this summary. And this is the last question in this comprehension check for Act 1. Act 1 of the play, including the fight between Montague and Capulet families, followed by the introduction of Romeo, heart sick after being rejected. Like his heart is sick, he's sad after being rejected by Rosaline. After Romeo is invited to a party that Rosaline is to attend, he agrees to go and meet Juliet. Romeo and Juliet fall in love instantly, directly, but learn that their families are enemies. The problem is that they have learned that the families are in a problem when they already have met together. Romeo went to the party to meet to meet another girl to forget his rejected love by Rosalind. This is the end of Act 1. If you have any questions, please leave it below the video. Thank you and see you in the next video. Goodbye.